just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you drive all over the country to chase us down. Chase us down. Okay? We move so fast. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you're a family. I don't know if you're a wife. But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, that's, I owe that to you. It's the obligation that you have. How old are you?
Oh, 36.
So you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food. There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you, the feeder. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go and see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
Guess who's back? Back again. Brother Run. Tell a friend. I try to mess with my Wi-Fi? Y'all do me. All right, it's back on. Jerry's World. Party time. Excellent. Let's talk about Jerry Jones. Let's talk about them Cowboys. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about Jerry. Let's talk about Jerry. All we talking about is just Jerry, y'all. Here I come to save the day. Welcome, everybody. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. That's News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your host for this empowerment edutainment session, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. Tell a friend, tell a friend. It's going to be a great one tonight. I think it's a great one every night. I have a lot to say, but I don't have a lot to say at the same time. Like, I like doing this, but like, I don't need to do it. Everybody's talking. Everybody got interesting points to be made. Everybody out here. I mean, I've been YouTube famous for a while, right? YouTube, people been knowing about me. I've been doing this for a minute. I don't feel the need to always run my mouth. I like to talk. I'm very loquacious. I have a gift for gab. I have a silver tongue, as they say. And I don't mind sharing what I know or what I think about certain things. At times I'm very interested with living in. I can't believe that we're just a day. Some of y'all, I guess, 2 days removed from Thanksgiving. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Okay. So it's about to be almost about to be the end of the year. And that's crazy to think about because I'm trying to still figure out what happened to the summertime. Summertime. Summer. It was summertime. Not a lot of summertime, but summertime. It was summer. Some of the time. Not all of the time. Because it went by real fast this year. Keeping your head on a swivel. Everything is going by real fast. It's like a real fast thing. And everything's like a daze. DAZE, days. I mean, days, dazzled, bedazzled. But let's talk about this thing here. I love these type of things like Jerry Jones thing. And unless you've been in a coma for the last 48 hours, this Jerry Jones thing has been very interesting about him being a part of this white mob, keeping out these black kids on the same day. It's Little Rock 9 was trying to integrate Central High School. Yeah, North Little Rock High School being integrated. I ain't know about North Little Rock High School. Also trying to be integrated at the same time as Little Rock Central High School. This is just new information. Like, who decides to tell the history? I guess it's his story for a reason. Because who decided to leave that one out? Now, you got integration not only happening in Central High School in Little Rock, but also you got something going on at North Little Rock High School. And how did they know that was Jerry Jones? Like, who was holding on to that? Are they trying to dissuade Odell Beckham Jr. from signing with the Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? They whooped that trick. They whooped the Vikings 40-3. Then they whooped the New York Giants, their rivals in the NFC East. NFC East is actually doing their thing, but they they whooped the Giants 28-20. The score make it look like it was closer than what it was, from my understanding, reading the highlights. It was not as close a game as the score would indicate. But Jerry Jones, to his credit, I mean, he's good at media. I want one thing about Jerry. He's not known for ducking cameras, especially during times of controversy. It's like he's been working his whole life to this moment. It's all about him. It's all about Jerry, right? And true to Jerry Jones' fashion, he didn't duck the cameras. He answered questions in his own way, and I give the devil his due. You know, like, he did his thing. He stood his ground. You know, is hell is popping, but Jerry do his thing. What Jerry do? Good at spinning the media. To be honest with you, it didn't really bother me like a lot of people, because I'm gonna tell you why. I think people are kind of weird. All this fake outrage, fake moral outrage, and stuff like that. Um, you know who was the governor of Arkansas at the time, right? Arkansas. You know who was the governor of Arkansas at the time? Orville Faubus, well-known segregationist, Dixiecrat, whatever you want to call him, white nationalist. Also member of the Democratic Party. Yes, that Orville Faubus. Charles Mingus, the great Charles Mingus, did a song, one of my favorite jazz songs of all time, called The Fables of Faubus. The Fables of Faubus. Like, and you listen to that. Charles Mingus from Watts out in South LA, one of South LA's finest. Charles Mingus, great composer, visionary, bass player, but he did a song called Fables of Faubus that is based around the character. He was a real character known as Orville Faubus, who was one-term governor of Arkansas, who was a Democrat, and also was an idol to the one and only your president, Joe Biden. Your president. That was one of his idols. You know, Faubus and George Wallace and Strom Thurmond and James Eastland, and go on and on and on and on. All the greatest ones, the greatest white nationalists, you know, hit parade, all part of the Democratic Party. Malcolm told y'all about the Democratic Party. He told you about them foxy white liberals, and y'all still don't heed the message. So don't tell me you mad at Jerry Jones when he was 14 years old. He didn't. He held the power to keep the races separated. Lying to the races. He didn't have the power. He wasn't the governor of Arkansas. He was 14 years old, 14-year-old kid, 14-year-old white boy who was born in L.A. Jerry Jones was born in Los Angeles. It's like learning that Jerry Jones was born in Los Angeles. It's like learning that the Bush family actually lived in Compton. The Bush family is straight out of Compton, y'all. Y'all know that, right? Y'all knew Compton was a white community at one point, right? Y'all know the Bush family used to live in Compton, right? Compton. I mean, everything is, the world's a stage, y'all. Y'all need to get caught up on this history thing. It's redlining and gentrification of American history. Like I said, I didn't ever know Little Rock, North Little Rock High School was getting integrated around the same time. And then they run this game. You know, is Jerry 15 or is he 14? He was only 14. Only 14. According to Wikipedia, he was born October 13th, 1942. So allegedly that happened when the Little Rock 9 stuff was going on in September of 57. So he was still 14. He was only 14. Only 14. He was curious 14-year-old. I guess a little bit mischievous 14-year-old. Mischief. He talked about that. But also, Emmett was 14 years old when they killed him. They killed him for being a curious 14-year-old. But Jerry Jones gets to become a billionaire. And Emmett Till is forever young at 14. So this is the tale of two Americas. Whereas if you are a curious black 14-year-old male, you are deemed a threat, a menace to society, a super predator, and you are deemed for execution without due process under the law. And there's been more cases besides the Emmett Till of black males being denied due process and being given a state-sponsored lynching. There's a lot of cases. I can get to a lot of things. I'm trying to keep around this Jerry Jones thing and about this race thing. It's interesting. Arkansas is a very fascinating place. I always tell people when I go to Arkansas, I speak to Arkansas. I don't like going. I don't like being in Arkansas. Arkansas got some bad juju or something going on in Arkansas. Like, y'all always talking about Mississippi. I could talk about Georgia and Alabama, but something about Arkansas. Arkansas is just a different type. They're a different type of boogie. You know what I'm saying? Different type. Their history tells you that. So you got to understand what Arkansas is about. You understand? Arkansas is very much a gangster state. It's a gangster state. Gangster. Because you got to think about Arkansas produced the likes of Bill Clinton. We talked about this before. We talked about Mena, Arkansas, especially in relations that this past November 22nd marked the 59th anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. And it's more and more information is coming out that now we understand who, what, and as well as what entities were involved in the killing of JFK. That was the real nightmare on Elm Street. Y'all think about Freddy Krueger, but they killed JFK on Elm Street. That's the real nightmare on Elm Street. They killed a president in the middle of the day in front of a huge audience, a captive audience, as you will, to find out that President Kennedy was killed in the same town that was ran by one of the top CIA deputy directors' brothers. Kennedy fired A.L.L. Dulles. Dulles Airport is named after him in the DMV area, right? A.L.L. Dulles, first CIA director I think it was first CIA director, something like that. Skull and bones type of cat, right? Lawyer and all that, banana republics, all that stuff, Nazis and all that. He fired him along with Charles Cabell. I think it's Cabell. General Charles Cabell was deputy director of the CIA. He got fired. JFK was making his mission to defund the CIA, to dismantle the CIA, to disassemble the CIA, and scatter it into 1,000 pieces into the wind, something like that. He had the right idea, just he didn't have enough time because General Charles Cabell or Cabell, whatever the name, Cabell, whatever. His brother Earl was the mayor of Dallas, and they changed JFK's his parade route where it shouldn't have been changed. Made the president vulnerable to sniper attack. You had unsecured buildings, skyscrapers, whatever, high rises. Had no business going down that street. Then his autopsy wasn't done in Dallas, which was against Texas law. His autopsy should have been done in Parkland, not at the Bethesda Naval Hospital base thingy out in Maryland. Now, we already talked about that, about the spooky stuff that goes on at the Bethesda Naval Hospital out in Bethesda, Maryland. All that, people dying under questionable circumstances, all that stuff. Then you look at the history of the Dallas Cowboys, how they came to be. It was a guy, an oil tycoon. I guess, media guy named Clint Murchison. What's his name? Clint Murchison that founded the Dallas Cowboys. Allegedly, they had that infamous meeting the night before the Kennedy assassination, the who's who, like Lyndon B. Johnson, J. Edgar Hoover, some other characters. Matter of fact, Lyndon B. Johnson's alleged mistress and one of his baby mamas, before she died, she did a tell-out video testimony. It was Madeline Brown. The other name, Madeline Brown, LBJ's mistress, talked about that meeting the night before the Kennedy assassination. Then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans. They got moved out of Dallas. Lamar Hunt, they named the Lamar Hunt Trophy after in football, one of the founding fathers of the American Football League, which is now known as the American Football Conference in the NFL, the National Football League. They named one of those trophies with the conference trophy after him, Lamar Hunt's trophy. His father was A.L.L. Hunt, oil tycoon, connected to the JFK assassination. So football and politics and assassinations are all interrelated. But Clint Murchison, another shadowy figure in the JFK assassination thing, he was the original owner of the Cowboys, right? So I mean, like what Lucky Luciano once said, behind every great wealth, there's a great crime. Behind every great wealth, there's a great crime. One of the greatest wealth transfers, one of the greatest crimes in human history has been the American slavery institution. America could not have become what it became or what it is without the institution of slavery. So Jerry Jones did not create that, but he benefited from it as a white male with white privilege. And getting back to that picture, let's try to find this picture. Picture pages, come and get your picture pages. Come and get your pads and your pencils. Let me see something. Found that image. Thank y'all for tuning in. Or y'all tune out to tune in to get in where you fit in, man. On We All Be, that's News Free Dixie for the 21st century. News Free Dixie. Jerry's World, party time. Grab a coon, excellent. Okay, that looks like some classic 1950 stuff right there. Dude with the flat top in the front, you can't make this stuff up. Like some Johnny Reb. Y'all ever listen to that Johnny Reb music, whatever? Fits the mood. This is what they do to get them in the mood. Okay, so that's Jerry Jones. I ain't gonna lie, I was a Dallas Cowboy fan growing up. As part of my childhood. Them 3 championships back in the 90s. The 3-headed monster, Aikman, Emmett, and Michael. 3-headed monster. Dynasty. Jimmy Johnson, who was a college football classmate with Jerry Jones at the University of Arkansas. They won a national championship back in '64. Jimmy Johnson really was the architect of that Dallas Cowboys dynasty that ended prematurely. Also, Jerry Jones hired Barry Switzer to replace Jimmy Johnson for one more championship in the 90s. Barry Switzer was actually I want to say he was an assistant coach at the University of Arkansas during the time of Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones were players. But it's an interesting picture, right? Wow, a lot to take in. This happened around the same time. This is what the North Little Rock High School trying to be integrated by some black students. Been denied interest by some white students, a white mob. Let's call it what it is. It's around the same time that the integration at the Little Rock 9 Central High School things going on with the National Guard. But my thing is, why now? Why put this out now? Because this hasn't been information been floating around for a while, for decades. This picture is like 65 years old, 65 plus years old, right? Why now? Why is it now they putting it out there? And Jerry's been known for giving a lot of black football players their payday, but he's never been known for hiring a black head coach and all that stuff. So there's been criticism of Jerry, even though he did do the Rooney move, the Rooney rule, right? The Rooney rule, one of the late owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers had a thing where you got to, interview a person of color or a black candidate for a coaching position, in particular head coaching position, the Rooney rule. And he did do that with Marvin Lewis several years ago, but he never had a black head coach lead the show. There's a lot of black people that are fans, are big time fans of the Dallas Cowboys, right? There's a lot of them. I mean, I'm living in Memphis. It's like Cowboys, Packers, Steelers, Raiders, a lot of those, right? The Cowboy Nation got a lot of black folks in it. It was interesting because you look at the history of Texas as it relates to the treatment of black people. But really, the definition cowboy is about a black man. Because, think about it, like Dick Greg would say, why would a white man call himself a boy? So you knew they had to be black people they were talking about when they came up with the term cowboy, right? Then you look at the history of Texas as it relates to black people, like we talked about the Houston race, war, riot, whatever you want to call it. We had the 3rd Battalion, 24th Infantry get into it with the police department of Houston. They got into a shootout. The 3rd Battalion, 24th Infantry Regiment, Buffalo Soldiers, they march on Houston after being disrespected for so much by the Houston Police Department and the white community down there. You have instances of Texas Rangers, just killing black soldiers in cold blood, stationed in Texas. You got all this going on in Texas, right? So Jerry Jones did not create this environment. He's a product of this environment. He comes from a family that ran a grocery business in North Little Rock. And he's 14 years old. That's the thing. He's 14. It's like I said, y'all still love Biden. Joe Biden's proven to be a neo-Dixiecrat. He never had his a love or affiliation with people like the Strom Thurmonds, like Robert Byrd, the senator from West Virginia, who was a high-ranking member of the Ku Klux Klan at one point. That Robert Byrd, one of the longest-serving senators in U.S. history. James Eastland, John Stennis, I think his name John Stennis. These are the senators from Mississippi that Malcolm always talked about in his speeches. I say y'all love Malcolm. Y'all never listen to him and what he had to say about politics. Because we are very immature when it comes to playing this political game that we find ourselves in. We are always the pawn, never the victor, always victim, it seems, So I can't blame Jerry Jones for that. He's benefited from a rigged game, just like Donald Trump has benefited from a rigged game. And he makes no qualms about it. Like, it's funny, like, Donald Trump, like I talked about on this show, I told Dick Gregory, about Donald Trump dead, a guy that was named Fred Trump, allegedly from Queens, being arrested by the police back in June of 1927. There's a New York Times article talking about a man named Fred Trump from Queens, New York, who got into it with the police up in Queens doing a Klan rally. He was arrested. I don't know why they put them in the newspaper for whatever reason. But Fred Trump, daddy's from Queens, Donald's from Queens. So we could assume that's his father. But I don't look at Donald Trump as being a Klansman. He's a businessman, a white businessman who has benefited from a fixed game like he always talked about. The game is rigged. So Jerry Jones has benefited, a son of a white grocer, magnate, has benefited from a rigged game. The Dallas Cowboys don't win no championship, yet they the most expensive franchise in sports, in the sports world. The Dallas Cowboys is the most expensive or wealthiest franchise in all the sports, no matter what it be, the World Cup sports or baseball or basketball. His franchise is worth more than any other sports team in any other sports league in all the world. And when the last time Dallas Cowboys ever won anything? Yeah, like the sports networks, what they talk about all the time, year round. How about them Cowboys? Year round, that's all they talk about. All this publicity that Jerry Jones get, don't win no rings. It's made for good, it's entertainment. It's fool's ball. It's fool's gold. It's bread and circuses, right? And Jerry is the ringmaster. Like Jerry Springer. He thrives out the drama. He thrives out the controversy. It brings him all types of money. Like I say, he has a loyal following among black people in this country, especially where I'm at. They love them some Cowboys. Or they love to hate them Cowboys. How about love to hate them Cowboys, right? So Jerry is interesting about Jerry Jones because he told his players, y'all cannot stand what Kaepernick was doing. Kneel. He didn't want his players to protest anything. He wanted them to be good old boys. Just some good old boys. They don't mean no harm. You know what I'm saying? Some good old boys. Y'all behave. Jerry Papa Jerry gonna take care of you. Papa Jerry gonna take care of his boys. You understand? He gonna take care of your boys. So I can't get mad at Jerry Jones. I'm sorry. It's too funny. It's too funny. Y'all mad at Kanye West for all the wrong stuff. I don't care who he slept with. I don't care he slept with a purple alien and had some intergalactic racial mixed kids, whatever. Ain't my concern. My concern is whether you are quiet about your suffering, whether you are vocal about your suffering, you still gonna catch hell. So all you people that talk about, well, he shouldn't have said nothing. He gave up the bag. Man, we gave up generational wealth before Kanye West. There's always been, there's always been a black thing to give it up and then say we forgive them. They're like the black folks, like the kid, you see that black dude in the plaid shirt. He was a boy back then. But even he said, now I forgive Jerry, but just you don't focus on a man's past, you focus on the future. Black folk, we always give it. Why don't see nobody being more sympathetic towards our people that may be a little bit controversial and outspoken? Why can't those ish people? Okay, yeah, we understand. Ye is talking from a place of hurt. He's been traumatized by the system. We could give him we forgive you, Ye. Why they can't say that? It's all about never forget, right? But black folks, we see something like this. One of our so-called like Jerry Jones. It's kind of like how black folks used to treat Donald Trump back in the day. Black folks used to love being around Donald. All them rappers. Like, well, black folks love Jerry. Oh, Jerry, all right, man. Jerry, all right, man. He good. Jerry, one of the good ones. Y'all be doing that crap. Because really, all of us really want to be accepted by white people. It's like everybody be cool then. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be doing that. It's not a noun, it's a verb at this point. Because it depends on the time of the day or the season. Everybody gonna show shake their coon tail. Woo! Oh, y'all gonna shake their coon tail. Oh, some of y'all like biscuits, some of y'all like crackers. It don't make a difference. We all in the same game. So when it comes to that, let's stop it like we so blackity black, blackity black, 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 black. Don't crack back. Stop with all that. Y'all not as militant as y'all think. If you actually still looking at sports and you are saying that we lost or we won and you ain't getting no bonus check from being in the Super Bowl or being in the Pro Bowl and the All-Star game, if you ain't got no endorsement deals, if your checks from work don't say Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones or whatever on them, then you a slave too. Because it should make a difference about this crap here. This is a distraction. Jerry can't do nothing about. That's the past. Like the best thing I can say about that is you don't see Jerry slurring or saying any insensitive things. You don't see him in the front with flat top from Dick Tracy, like a Dick Tracy. Something to do like Dick Tracy characters, like flat top. You don't see him in the front actually eyeball to eyeball with the black people trying to integrate. He's actually like a Forrest Gump looking figure. He's very curious. He got Forrest Gump look. I mean, he's a billionaire for crying out loud. Why? But he's good at marketing, and he's not going to let a good controversy go to waste. And I applaud him for being out there because, it's like even with Kramer from Seinfeld, Michael Richards, right? Y'all remember, there's so much stuff that has happened. Like, we talk about the Yay outburst, the DEFCON 3 and all this. But remember Michael Richards had that meltdown on the stage and he just started coming with the ninjas. Like, not the Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, and Donatello. I'm talking about the ninjas. He started dropping the ninjas, that word off. He just started slanging that word, and he had to do his apology tour. I think he had to say, I'm sorry to Jesse and Al and all them. And to me, I didn't really care because, nobody's talking about that no more. I mean, Kramer, black folks still love Seinfeld. Even though hardly was no black people on Seinfeld like Friends. I know black folks that look at Friends. Even though you in New York City, how you gonna be in New York City and black people in New York City? Come on, man. So, with that said, the Emmett Till thing, the way some people are upset at Jerry Jones, y'all should be upset like that with Carolyn Bryant Dunham. Carolyn Bryant Dunham actually did something that cost somebody their life. A 14-year-old named Emmett Lewis Till lost his life over something very trivial. They say curiosity kills the cat, right? Well, curiosity killed Till. But curiosity made Jones a billionaire many times over. He owns the wealthiest sports team on the planet. It has not won any type of real significant championship in almost 30 years. What type of deal he make? But that's Arkansas for you. I'm talking y'all to understand Arkansas. Arkansas, one of those interesting places. It's called a natural state because they can hide your body in all types of natural ways. Arkansas got so many things to it that you go into Arkansas, people never hear from you again. It's just like that. It's a gangster state. I talk about Arkansas. The way they focus on Jerry Jones and what all this stuff about this photograph should be the same way they should focus on what really happened back in September 1919, the Lane Race Massacre. You probably got mass graves over in Arkansas unaccounted for. Maybe over thousands of black people, over 1,000 black folks massacred and sanctioned by the state of Arkansas. You got pictures of the governor of Arkansas at the time, who was from Mississippi, going around hunting black people with the National Guard, with his deputized, troops. There are photos of him hunting black people. This is weird. You don't even see this stuff in any other state. This is Arkansas. Y'all always talking about Florida and Texas and stuff. This is Arkansas. You had the sitting governor hunting black people on photograph. And y'all worry about that photograph right there. Y'all more concerned about that one? I'm trying to point. How about point? Okay, no, it's over there. Over there. Y'all more concerned about okay. It's been a long. Okay, y'all more concerned about that photograph next to Old Man Jones. Then y'all about the photographs of the sitting governor of Arkansas hunting black people with his troops. Okay, I can show that photograph, but it's in the Arkansas State Archives. It's online. You can look it up. I'm not making this up, but there's so many things that happen to black folks in Arkansas that should be talking about. Like Richard Wright's uncle was lynched in Arkansas because he had a successful business. And the white folks wanted it, and he wouldn't give it up. I guess he wouldn't give up his business on the land, and they killed the man. You understand? That happened in Arkansas. That's Richard Wright's uncle, Mr. Native Son, that guy. Black boy, Mr. Richard Wright. Yeah, the Jegna for James Baldwin. That Mr. Richard Wright, right? His uncle was lynched in Arkansas over some BS. You had, I talk about Isidore Banks, black man who owned 3,000 acres of land back in the 50s. They killed him back in June of 54. Isidore Banks of Crittenden County of Marion, Arkansas, which is located in Crittenden County. Guy was so rich. This black man was so rich, he brought lights to the state or to the county. He actually brought lights. Like, he was able to put up lights because he brought electricity to Crittenden County. 3,000 acres of land. A lot of land was sitting on the original Trail of Tears. When Andrew Jackson forced them Indians to go west, they marched on land that he owned. Now the land has subdivisions on it, has businesses on it, got the dog track thing, Greyhound is situated on that land. Parts of I-55 is situated on that land. His little daughter was 4 years old, had to leave everything she knew to go to St. Louis to escape with her family because they was in fear of their life. His eldest daughter went to the bank to try to get his money. He had like almost $100,000 in the bank. It disappeared. The sheriff was the tax collector of the county. He was known for making sure that a lot of black landowners were delinquent on paying taxes. He did things to sabotage their ability to pay their taxes on time, so he was able to secure that land. And he passed on, and when his wife passed on, his widow, she left almost $9 million to her local white church. And that money probably came from the blood money of Isidore Banks being lynched. And that happened back in 54. I had a chance to interview both his granddaughter, who was 4 when she left Arkansas for St. Louis, and his granddaughter, right? So his daughter was 4. He interviewed his granddaughter. Shout out to sister Marcelina Williams. She's really fighting the fight, trying to find out the truth. A lot of times, the white folks will keep the evidence of the crime. Like, you go to the city halls, to the archives, to the National Archives, hell, the FBI, they'll keep a record of what they did. It might be redacted, but they'll keep it. And they'll say some stuff like they did in Forsyth County when black folks were forced out of Forsyth County back in September of 1912. A mass exodus of black land-owning folks out of Forsyth County, where there's Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is a man-made lake that is situated above Oscarville, which used to be an all-black town. You have all them people dying crazy deaths in Lake Lanier. And because they probably cursed because they destroyed that black town on Oscarville and how they treated black folks in Forsyth County, where you have just recently Tamla Horsford, the beautiful black woman, wife and mother, was killed at this all grown up, all white but her party in Forsyth County under questionable circumstances. And we talked about that a little bit. But you got all these things that happen in Arkansas that people could talk about, but yet they choose to talk about that picture. Jerry is not involved in anything pertaining to a lynching, because you see pictures like that all the time. You got young kids and teenagers, and you got like a black person hanging like a mistletoe from a tree or like a Christmas decoration. But that's not going on here. And the way he's looking, he reminds me of Forrest Gump. I think he was just curious. Because according to him, his football coach told me I need to go in the back. Don't bring no attention to yourselves. And your mind ain't fully developed to you, 26? You still got people doing stupid stuff after 26. Stupid things after 26. And I'm not even excusing Jerry, but I just wish people would give the same way that black folks give all these people grace. Why can't these same folks give people like Kyrie and Ye their grace too? Say, you know what, let people have space to grow, but also don't be so dismissive of what people standing on. It's like what Ye is saying, nothing different from what Michael Jackson has said and Prince. Sam Cooke and Otis Redding, all these people dealt with this type of stuff in their careers. People like B.B. King talked about being exploited by certain people in their careers. I just think that if you really want what y'all say y'all want, you can't get it without saying people's names and having them dates and receipts. Don't be all scary with it. And my thing is, don't be so quick to criticize a person if you had never walked in their shoes, how can we be one to judge a person? I know what it is to lose $20, $120. I don't know what it is to lose $2 billion. So I can't speak on another man's level of sanity, because there's a lot of stuff that I accept on a day-to-day basis where I consider myself insane for accepting that. There's a lot of things we accept, and we should consider ourselves insane for accepting that treatment. Because you train people how to treat you. You train people how to treat you, right? Like, I think what Dr. King said towards the end, we integrate into a burning house. No, we want to be all the good and the bad that they had to offer, that so-called white society had to offer. We couldn't discern it. We used to have a moral compass. We used to be the moral conscience of the country. But yet we lost our way trying to be too much like them. And they try to warn us, stay away. Whites only. We sick. That's what they were really saying. Y'all, a lot of us didn't get that. We sick people. Stay away from us. We're no good. Stay away. You're better among your own. Just stay away from us. Something's wrong with us. Y'all thought, our people thought it was something wrong with them. No, they will let us know what's something wrong with them. That's why they told us to stay away. And what's interesting is that situation with Central High School, Little Rock 9, that's when all that, we divesting out of public education really started, right? Let's take our kids, our white privileged kids, out of public schools and start private and charter schools. Let's put all that money there, because black folks, we never had all the resources that we should have had. But it's funny to me, and people don't talk about this. Like, I didn't know about North Little Rock High School being integrated around the same time as Central High School, because the way they tell his story is that it was one high school in Little Rock they was focusing all their attention on. But then, they've been knowing about this Jerry Jones photo. I mean, come on. It's Arkansas, for crying out loud. But what's funny about Jim Crow? Some of the best institutions in the country for education were black institutions during Jim Crow. What's crazy? It's this beautiful sister, this musician named Esperanza Spalding, right? Esperanza Spalding. I think she won some Grammys. I think she performed for the Obamas at one of these inaugurations. Like, beautiful, young, talented musician and educator. I read somewhere recently, you can look this up, that she resigned from her faculty position in Harvard University, right? Because she wanted to actually be an educator. She wanted to actually do some good in the world. She wanted to educate people about her people, about their music, about the origins. She wanted to really do a grassroots type of music education, where she actually educates the whole person. And they wasn't supportive of that. I mean, they didn't care if she won Grammys and she's renowned and she performed at the White House or the Kennedy Center. They didn't care about all that. She's just another, you know what? The first black person to get a PhD from Harvard was who? But Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois. He never taught at Harvard or all them Ivy League schools. He spent most of his career teaching at HBCU. And this is the father of American sociology. Spent most of his decorated career teaching at black institutions. And like he said on his birthday in China on the radio, he said, I did all these things for my country, and all they know me or treat me as is just another another ninja. This is when he was like in his 90s. He had to acknowledge how his efforts were not recognized, how he was disrespected by his own country. This is the father of American sociology, who didn't teach at Harvard, who didn't feel like he was a part of Harvard when he was there. You understand? Or you overstand, you understand. So, black folk, we try to go places where we not wanted, where we not loved or respected. Why? You can see that in the military. Like I'm talking about the 3rd Battalion, the 24th Infantry Regiment, how they were treated. You got stories of black men being lynched in full uniform over here as well as abroad. You talk about Emmett Till's father, Louis Till, who should be exonerated. Him and his co-defendant, Fred McMurray, got a kangaroo court judgment against them, claiming that they were raping and killing white women in Italy, and the surviving women refused to testify that they were the ones who did it. Then there's been rumors saying it was a white man that was actually raping and killing them women over there in Italy. But they sacrificed Emmett Till's father July 2nd, 1945. And Eisenhower was the leader of the Allied forces. He was the supreme Allied commander. And when Emmett Till was lynched in Mississippi, guess who was president? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Okay? Stone cold killer. I remember I talked to granddaughter of Isidore Banks. She said people told her that Eisenhower might have put the hit on Isidore Banks because he wanted Isidore's land in Arkansas for Interstate 55. You know, Eisenhower is known as really the father of the interstate system in America. One of his greatest achievements was creating the interstate system to connect the country, the commerce and everything. He created the interstate system, Eisenhower did. And a lot of that prime land that Isidore Banks owned, I-55 sits on it. So I don't know what it was. Maybe they want to make a rich ninja richer or wealthier, but they got rid of Isidore Banks. Eisenhower, they killed millions of people during World War II. What is to kill one red ninja down in Arkansas for his land? How is it going to tip the scales? You know what I'm saying? It was Dwight D. Eisenhower that allegedly signed off on the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, the prime minister of the Congo. The one who hired Dave Chappelle's mom on the spot when he was in D.C. He couldn't meet with Eisenhower, but he hired Dave Chappelle's mom. He had that Dave Chappelle mom to oversee his dam project in the Congo. They said they signed off on that during the Eisenhower administration because President Kennedy was actually trying to intervene and save the life of Patrice Lumumba. And there's this famous photo, according to Oliver Stone in his recent documentary about JFK, where you see a very frustrated JFK. And they said that was his response to finding out about Patrice Lumumba being assassinated and dismembered. Because you know what they did with Patrice Lumumba? I think they put his body in an acid vat. They melted his body down. And the only thing they kept was his gold teeth. And they returned that to the family several years ago. His gold teeth. That's all that remained because they didn't want to build a monument for the people to rally around for Patrice Lumumba. Just like when they pulled Medgar Evers' body out of Jackson, he should have got buried in Mississippi because that would have created some type of spiritual rallying point for the black folks in Jackson and Mississippi to really break free. So they know us very well. They know how we use our ancestors to give us strength and endurance and courage and vision. And they know us well. We don't know ourselves that well. That's the problem. But I say all this to say. That there's a lot to talk about. Also, we're going to talk about on this show one day. Like I said, I like doing these shows. I do. I know I should do more, but I like, man, I don't know, man. Like, you know, there's a lot of people talking about stuff, and I see what people talking about, but they can dig a little bit deeper than what they're digging into, right? It was a guy speaking of, the Red Summer of 1919, right? They never really talk about the Knoxville race riots of 1919. This happened back in August 30th of 1919. This year marked the 100th anniversary of the state-sponsored execution of Maurice Mays. Maurice Mays was a political operator out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I was born in Knoxville. I was raised here. I was raised in Memphis, but I was born in Knoxville. And really, Knoxville always been creepy to me. Like I be going back to Knoxville. I'll go through Knoxville to go to the East Coast, whatever. Well, I stop in Knoxville. Knoxville always had this weird vibe about it, like some type of sinister vibe. And I just now figure out what that vibe was about. It's a lot of like just the ancestors are not pleased. In particular, Maurice Mays, how he was treated. Maurice Mays was a biracial man. He was adopted by a black family. They said that he was the bastard son of a mayor of Knoxville named John McMillan. I think the guy was named John McMillan. His actual biological father was a very prominent, powerful white politician who was once mayor of Knoxville back in the day. Maurice Mays was a very cocky, confident, enterprising young man. He was very much involved in politics and organizing and getting out the vote. But his biggest sin for that time was he had a well-known reputation for dating and screwing white women. He had a thing for dating and screwing white women. And he used to be in law enforcement. And he got on the bad side of this white officer that said, I'm going to get you one day. I warned you about messing with the white women. During the time of Jack Johnson, this dude don't mess with white women. This is Knoxville in Tennessee. The Klan was created in Tennessee. Ku Klux Klan was created in Pulaski, Tennessee. Okay, so this is Klan country, right? When you go through, it's funny coming from West Tennessee. So West Tennessee is all blue. Right? Memphis, Shelby County, we Democrats. The rest of the state is red. The farther you go out east in Tennessee, the bigger the Jesus crosses get and the Confederate flags get. The farther you go out to East Tennessee on your ways to Virginia, whatever, the bigger those Confederate flags get, the bigger those crosses get. But the white police officer said, you know what? I'm going to get you for messing. I told you about messing with the white women, Maurice. Leave the white women alone. He just couldn't help. He just loved the white meat. So he was allegedly accused of raping and killing this white lady in her home during a home invasion. Her cousin told the police officer that reported on the scene that it was a black man. So this was the same police officer that had beef with Maurice Mays. I ain't mean Maurice White for her 25 goblin. Maurice Mays. So he went to Maurice Mays' home, drug him out his bed, took him to the scene of crime, had him stand outside on the street light, and the cousin said, yeah, this him. He said, is this the perp? This the perp, right? Yeah, this him. So what's crazy is it's almost a 3-year process where he getting railroaded by the court system. And it was crazier. You got white women that want to testify on his behalf and say, you know what, Maurice couldn't have did this because it was a guy that broke in and he raped me or he robbed me. He said, you better lay still. I'll do like that woman that other boy went down for. You know what I'm saying? So you had white women that wanted to testify in Maurice Mays' defense, and the courts would not allow them to testify on his behalf. You had black folks with money in Knoxville who refused to help this brother. Even the NAACP did not want to help Maurice Mays for whatever reason. So they ended up finally putting him to death March 15th, 2022. March 15th, 1922. Excuse me. It was March 15th, 1922. Young man, handsome guy, very intelligent, known for writing eloquent letters and poetry and all that stuff. You had a black couple in Knoxville that went to bat for him, but they was like really surprised that a lot of other black folks didn't, they couldn't stand up for Maurice Mays. They didn't give no money. I know when his funeral was had at the church, a local black church in Knoxville, thousands of people, both black and whites, came out to pay their respects. And from my understanding, his biological father, who was once mayor of Knoxville, John McMillan, committed suicide in 1926, from what I read. But we'll talk about that. But I'm saying, see, this is serious stuff. Because right now, the Black Cultural Community Center, that's named after the couple who went to bat for Maurice Mays, they've been fighting for years to have this man's named exonerated, pardoned, whatever, through the governor of Tennessee. Now, Governor Bill Lee said he couldn't do it. I think Bill Haslam said he couldn't do it. And the Democratic candidate, Jason Martin, said he wouldn't do it. That's why he probably lost, because he needed a black vote. But this man obviously didn't do it. They didn't have enough evidence saying that he did do it. Then you had white women that was willing to testify on his behalf, say he didn't do it because they said we was raped after he was in prison. And the guy said, if you don't lay still, I'm going to do you like so-and-so. The so-called victim of Maurice Mays was done. So look up that ancestor, Maurice Mays. Find out if you want to get involved in that story. Like I said, there's a community center out in Knoxville. They have their movement, a grassroots movement to exonerate this brother's name. So now I know why I feel a certain way when I come through Knoxville. I can pick up on this stuff. Like I said, I go through Arkansas, you can pick up on that weird buju, whatever you call it, right? So with Jerry, I don't know if I talked about everything. I mean, but Stephen A. Smith, I don't bother me. Charles Barkley, y'all should not let these people have so much control. Don't let these people emotionally blackmail you, because they're entertainers, they're buffoons, they're court jesters, not disrespecting their name, but this is what they are. They're paid to distract. They're paid to trigger you all. The best way you can handle those type of people is not to give them their energy. Don't give them your energy. Don't pay them no mind, because they mind nothing. They don't have nothing to offer. They're just there for entertainment and distraction and ish and giggles. But I always like these type of things to bring light to things in the historical context. I could talk about other things. But with Jerry Jones, if y'all not mad at Joe Biden for the things he have done in terms of how he has legislated, put in place policies that have destroyed the nuclear black family, and y'all reward him with because he said, if we don't vote Democrat, you ain't black, and y'all believe that. Well, the governor of Arkansas was a Democrat named Orville Faubus, who was a mentor to Joe Biden. So I guess he's right. I guess we love being treated a certain way, and yeah, we get mad at Ye. Y'all mad at Ye about what exactly? It's nothing really to be mad at him about. A lot of things he did was self-inflicted, but also a lot of things he did is helping liberate a lot of us from being slaves to other people's soft bigotry and low expectations. Jerry Jones, he was a product of his time. Let me read this. I'm gonna get out of here. I just said, man, I drove myself on here to do this. I'm trying to feel like, when was the Cowboy? Who founded the Cowboy? I want to get the wrong name. They might win a Super Bowl this year. Maybe Jerry got to go through this hazing right now so he get that ring that's been that fourth ring that he always wanted. Maybe he's going through a hazing. Don't be surprised if Dallas win the Super Bowl this year. Oh, do y'all know that the Clint Murchison was trying to bring the Washington Redskins to Dallas before the Dallas Cowboys? That's interesting. Okay. I was reading a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Redskins and Dallas rivalry runs deep. Y'all gotta check that out. Y'all research this stuff. A lot of stuff is ritualistic. It's a lot of Illuminati stuff going here, folks. But I'm not from Little Rock. I don't know. I mean, North Little Rock, is there a lot of black people that live in North Little Rock? The Jerry Jones was born in Los Angeles, California. The John Pat and Amanita Jones. The family moved back to North Little Rock, Arkansas in 1945. He was born October 13th, 1942. So he was 14 when that went down. If it's true that they were trying to integrate North Little Rock High School the same day as Central High School. That happened in September of 57. His parents owned 2 branches of Pat's Supermarket in the Rose City neighborhood of North Little Rock. Jones was a running back at North Little Rock High School, graduated in 1960. During his time in high school, I'm going to say a 14-year-old Jones in 1957 witnessed a rally where white students attempted to prevent 6 black students from entering the school. Jones has said that his presence at the rally was merely to watch out of curiosity, despite the school's football coach ordering the team, which Jones was a part of, not to participate. After his graduation, Jones's parents moved to Springfield, Missouri, what I call Missouri, where Pat was president and chairman of Modern Security Life Insurance Company. The company, which an advertisement billed as a 1 in a million company, saw its assets increase from $440,299.76 in its first statement in 1961 to $6,230,607 in 1965. Excuse me, that's a lot. After graduating from the University of Arkansas, Gerald W. Jones was listed as an executive vice president. With the success of the company, the Joneses assembled a 5,500-acre Buena Vista ranch east of Springfield in Rogersville, Missouri, in the Ozark Mountains. In 1971, after selling the insurance company, the couple carved out 400 acres of their ranch to start the Buena Vista Animal Paradise, where tourists could visit exotic animals. Now Wild Animal Safari in Stratford, Missouri, just south of Interstate 44. Okay, I mean, how many of us got that type of head start in life? He is a child of white privilege. So it wouldn't surprise me about that picture. Excuse me, y'all. I'm about to wrap it up because it's really not there. Let's see. Like you said, I don't know that anybody anticipated or had a background of knowing what was involved. It's more of a curious thing. Jones could be like that picture remind me of like the January 6th stuff, right? There was some curious people. Everybody wasn't violent. It was some people that was just curious. They just want to be there in that moment in time in history to say, where were you when so-and-so went down, right? Look at Jerry Jones. Think about Herschel Walker, right? I'm thinking about Herschel Walker. I'm going to close it out with this. I don't think I talked about anything pertaining to what I had originally wanted to talk about. But, Herschel Walker was traded. Jerry Jones traded Herschel Walker for what became one of the greatest dynasties in football history, the Cowboys from the 90s, right? And my thing is about the media. They want y'all to believe that Herschel Walker is an idiot. I don't believe the man is an idiot. Now, he was a football player, and he probably got some concussion issues. What I like about Herschel is that he's refreshing. He's an honest liar. I like the fact that when I saw the debate with him and Reverend Warnock, that he embraced whatever people try to use against him as being something of a negative. Like he was okay with embracing his mental health challenges and everything, you know what I'm saying? Even making fun of his so-called law enforcement affiliations, And I don't buy it for 1 minute that he's something like he's slow. You know, I think people got issues with the way people speak. I mean, he's a proud Georgian. He's a son of Georgia. He's a football guy. He's one of the greatest football players to play football at any level of the game. I mean, he probably could have had a Hall of Fame football career had he played longer in the NFL. I mean, but he had pretty impressive stats, and I mean, he's a football guy. And to me, Warnock leaves a lot to be desired. I believe that Stacey Abrams would have been a better senator or Senate candidate than she was a governor candidate because, from my understanding, she did most of her fundraising outside of Georgia. And she took the Georgia voters for granted. She didn't go to a lot of things she could have went to in person. Like the black frats and sororities reached out to her. She kind of like, whatever. She did Zooms and stuff from my understanding, but Brian Kemp came in person. No, he met with the Killer Mikes and the Randall Kings in person. You know what I'm saying? And you got to do a lot of glad handing and back patting and baby kissing or politicians doing. That's not a thing. And I think Stacey Abrams is very intelligent. She's a highly intelligent person. Black or white, she's very intelligent. She's a policy wonk, but I don't think she's good at is knowing how to deal with people. She's not a people person. That would really hurt her, but I think that she would have made a better Senate candidate than Warnock, because to me, Warnock is a liability, he's weakness. And we'll see on December 6th how this thing plays out. But evidently, they are afraid of Herschel. The so-called powers that be. They don't want him in that spot for whatever reason. And I think it'll be a good thing to have him in that spot. That's just me. But anyway, let me see what y'all say in the comment section. Maybe I can rely on that. Because the Jimmy Jones or Jerry Jones thing is weird. So, Brother Ron basically giving Jerry Jones a pass. Very disappointing. And you don't know what's behind that picture. He was a part of the group that was blocking the door. I wasn't there. Now, let me show you one picture I do know about. I gotta find it. Not really giving them a pass. I mean, the pass is passed, but it's never passed. But there's a lot of things that happen to black people in Arkansas that we should bring more attention to, like the Shaquilla thing, the Shaquilla Robinson thing. There's a lot of cases of black folks getting killed overseas or abroad or missing persons that we don't talk about. We get behind certain things, but we don't get back. I'm not dismissing the Jerry Jones thing. Not by any means, but I'm putting in a perspective that I'm not gonna let everything anger me just because it is what it is. But the thing about it is what should be done moving forward as it relates to Jerry Jones. Like they had them demands of Kyrie Irving, right, to be reinstated to play basketball. He had to do these things according to the so-called Jewish people. Where's the Black Defamation League or Anti-Defamation League? Where's the Black Anti-Defamation League when it comes to things like that? Another thing. Okay. Let's go with this. See, I'm gonna show you a picture that's disturbing to me that we don't talk about. See, we do a lot of nitpicking, this fake outrage that we like to do. I'll show y'all something because I'm here to teach. Here to teach, man. I'm trying to tell y'all still voted for Biden, and Biden's mentor was the governor of Arkansas that allowed for those shenanigans to go on. But y'all mad at a 14-year-old kid who's a product of that environment. He didn't set no policy. He couldn't make no laws. He benefited from because his white skin privilege, but why y'all know about this? Why y'all don't talk about stuff like this, right? That brother right there, that's L. Alex Wilson. See, I hope I said his name right. It's L. Alex Wilson. Let me see. Trying to do this right. I hope I said his name right because we honor him at the 2022 Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards. We honor L. Alex Wilson. You know what? I'm glad you said something. Let me see if I found this right. So much I'm trying to do. Like I said, I see people get on here, they could talk about this. Look, man, I'm trying to educate and while I'm learning stuff as well. Y'all gotta be about that crap. Yeah, L. Alex Wilson. That was his name. He was the editor of the Memphis Tri-State Defender back in the day. He actually covered the Emmett Till trial. He did a great job of covering the Emmett Till trial. You had real black journalism back then, like Daisy Bates out of Little Rock. Look up Daisy Bates, who helped organize the Little Rock Nine. You know, she was part of NACP. Also, she had her own newspaper. So you had a lot of great, real black men and women journalists who were also activists, and they used their platforms, their media platforms, to advance our messages. We don't have that like we used to have back in the day. So we even know Daisy Bates should be a household name. God bless the memory of Daisy Bates. Look up, beautiful sister. L. Alex Wilson, right? Just to make sure I'm having all his name right. L. Alex Wilson. The reason why I'm showing that picture, that happened when they were trying to integrate Central High School, Little Rock 9. This black man, he was a very tall, skinny black man, very courageous black man, a brilliant newspaper editor, journalist. That white mob went after him. Instead of trying to terrorize them black children getting into Central High School, by the white mob going towards him, he saved them black children lives. They would have did something to them black kids at Central High School had he not appeared on the scene. And he took a vow because he remember when he was a younger man, he ran from a white crowd, a white mob. He said, never again. He's a native, I believe, of Florida. So he's seen some things coming up through Florida. He's using black babies as alligator bait. He got all type of hell that black folks caught that we don't talk about. But yeah, we concerned about Jerry Jones looking like Forrest Gump in the picture. And when nobody's getting no hands put on him, I don't know what's going on in that picture. I don't know if they cursing or whatever. But he all in the back, versus him being in the front and being confrontational. But this brother took a beating. You understand me? They knocked him down. They kicked him up out of his head. They punched him upside the head. They threw things at his head. He took that beating. Had he not been there to take that beating, they would have did something to them 9 kids trying to get in that building. He was able to, I guess we call it, he was a diversion from the kids. He saved them kids' life. God will send angels. Sometimes you may be the angel. You may be doing, like, you ever did something for somebody you hate? You say, I don't know why I'm doing this for this person, but I'm going to do it. Not because I like this person, but something is telling me to do this. So something told him not to run that day like he did when he was a younger man. And it cost him his life because a couple years after that, he died. I think he died in his late 40s from the early onset of Parkinson's disease. And a lot of people believe that he got his Parkinson's from getting hit up the side of the head a lot of times back in September of 57. So that's L. Alex Wilson. Look him up, please. But he was the editor of the Tri-State Defender in Memphis. And he's buried down here in Elmwood Cemetery. And we honor him at the 2022 Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award. We gave him a achievement award. And his grandson, Adam Sadberry, who was a clarinetist in the Memphis Symphony Orchestra, he just moved to Minnesota, but I'm trying to connect with him to give him the award, the plaque that we gave for his grandfather, a righteous ancestor. So if I seen Jerry Jones do that to a black person, okay, You know what I'm saying, Jerry? You got some explaining to do, man. You ain't no just curious bystander. You actually participate in a near lynching of a black person. See, just look up the photos. It's film of Alex Wilson getting beat up and down the street by white people. This man is a dignified brother. You know, he ain't, he ain't no buck dancer. Like I said, he did a lot of important journalistic work as it related to the Emmett Till murder saga. And he put his life on the line literally to get the story out about what was happening to black people in Little Rock in the Central High School situation. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of different. Because one, been in power for decades, passing legislation, building legislation that have undermining your black family, that has undermining your ability to be a productive and inclusive citizen of this society. The other one is just a celebrity person who recently got involved in politics, who have benefited from the system that the other guy helped to create through his policies. So y'all can't get mad at Jerry Jones and not hold Joe Biden accountable for anything. Come on now. Joe Biden has said things, have done things with neo-Dixiecrats to get where he got. See, this is a Jerry Jones, a football celebrity, whatever. He actually helped make some black folks rich, right? A lot of great, all them people you name, Mississippi produced a lot of great black people. All that oppression, all that rich history and culture, got a lot of great black folks with roots from Mississippi, including my people. So my thing is, I'm not bothered by Jerry Jones. Really not. I mean, it's really like, but I wish that the same way that a lot of us as black people give these folks passes, let up off of Ye, let up off of Kyrie. Kyrie, how many times you got to apologize? Jerry Jones has said, I'm curious. But we know that they cost a lot of black boys' lives just by being curious. I talked about on my show. I mean, I don't know I talked about on the show, but I posted about it back in Detroit back in the day. It was back in the 30s. Was I think July of 1930, something like that. You had a black kid named Arthur Mixon, a teenage, maybe about 14 or 15. Arthur Mixon, maybe no more than 16, was killed by some Jewish gangsters just for being in the wrong place at the wrong times. A lot of stories. Him and his guys were playing ball on the street. Ball went near some place where they was doing something illegal. He may have seen some things he shouldn't have saw. He may have had some words with these Jewish gangsters. And they killed the man, they killed the boy in cold blood. That's Arthur Mixon. Arthur Mixon. Mixon. Mix, say his name. And these Jewish gangsters are not just any Jew. They were members of the Purple Gang, one of the meanest, most vicious organized crime gangs in the country. That's Detroit Purple Gang. Them guys made Al Capone like Mickey Mouse in some way. Al Capone was scared to try to mess with Detroit with those Jewish Purple Gang guys there. So look that up. They actually was held accountable for killing this black youth and spent football numbers in prison, from my understanding. Because that's what we got to do. Instead of like, let's get mad and all this bullshit, let's do some research. Let's start pulling out these receipts. Like I talked about Arkansas. There's a lot of things that have happened to black people in Arkansas that's not talked about like it should be talked about. It's like, it's one of my hopes that with the Mississippi River drying up, that you start seeing all these black casualties from over the decades and generations of black folks. They said they dumped a whole bunch of black folks in the Mississippi River during the Lane Race Massacre. Where the evidence? A lot of black folks got drowned in the Mississippi River during the East St. Louis Race Massacre. Let's see the evidence. But my thing, I'm not here to argue with anybody. I mean, my truth does not need to be validated by anybody's ignorance. But look up L. Alex Wilson, right? Look him up. Matter of fact, like I said, I'm trying to give his grandson his plaque. But let me look him up. We'll play this. I want to play this tribute that his grandson did at his grave. He's buried in Elmwood Cemetery, not that far from Jimmy Lunsford. A lot of our Black history. You ever come to Memphis? One of the best places you could go to learn about Memphis, especially Memphis Black history, is Elmwood Cemetery, where my friend Jimmy Lunsford is buried. But a lot of great Black people are buried over there, and they have audio tours now. It's kind of more updated, be more inclusive. All the phenomenal Black people that are buried there, like the first Black millionaire of the South that saved Memphis, Robert Church Sr. He's buried in a mausoleum there, and one of the first graduates of Howard University, a great lawyer here named I want to say Josiah or Hosiah. I think Josiah Settles. He's buried right behind the church mausoleum. But I want to play his tribute that his grandson did in his honor. Adam Sedberry, tribute to his grandfather, L. Alex Wilson, a civil rights pioneer and a brave man. And we'll come back. Yeah, good brother right there, Adam Sedberry, playing a tribute to his grandfather at graveside in Elmwood Cemetery. So that's history that we should talk about. When we talk about Central High School, Little Rock now, you should mention the name of Daisy Bates, great pioneer, righteous ancestor. You should remember the name of L. Alex Wilson, a righteous ancestor. This is the way you teach about us. It's like the Jewish people. They want to talk about their Holocaust. They're never forgetting. We should never forget about these great men and women and about these times. Don't make it about Jerry Jones, because it's bigger than Jerry Jones. The moment was bigger than his. It's all of ours to figure out. And the thing about it is that I just wish that we can have some type of discussions about these things. That really mean the way that we're passionate about, music award shows and sports. We should be as passionate about who we are, where we come from, what we've been through, and where we can go. And this is the purpose of doing this. Like I said, I could be like very gossipy, like about a lot of things. There's a lot of distractions out there, but these are the type of things that people need to talk about. And educator Jerry Jones, if he's open to receiving that, because he was 14 at the time. What's interesting is you look at what they're doing now to indoctrinate our kids at a young age with certain things. Y'all always saying that it's schools should be teaching them this and that. And guess what? The schools are teaching them this and that. And y'all have no idea what your kids are learning at school, because y'all don't want no parts of that. Y'all don't want no parts of being the people that correct what they need to be corrected in them, to instill and to inspire what needs to be inspired and instilled in them. Because who you are don't come from school. Now they're trying to make who you are come from school. They're trying to program, indoctrinate, do things to our children that, even if you think about the situation with the food and stuff like that, a lot of stuff we eat is not necessarily, it's food product. It's not even actual, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real. It's like they got 3D printers and all this stuff. You don't know what you're really eating anymore. It's like you look at these TV shows, you don't know what you're really watching anymore, unless you could train your third eye to see what your physical eyes won't let you see. So, yeah, I think that's it. I don't know, I ain't gonna bash old boy Jerry. I ain't saying give him a pass either, but let's have an understanding that this whole country wrong by how they treated black people. And we wrong when we allow the mistreatment to keep on going on and on for generations and generations. We're wrong about that. So I think there's thank you, P Funk, for tuning in, tuning out. Thank you, Sister Duckworth. We love you madly. Yeah, it was pathetic. And it cost him his life, man. He sacrificed his life for us. And the least we could do was remember his name. Say his name, L. Alex Wilson. Say his name. We do us wrong. We don't, we got to remember these people. Like, why are these so-called black speaking heads not bringing up these figures? Like, why is that it takes Ron Hurd with my little show? Why couldn't Stephen A. Smith and all these folks tell them running over themselves to protect Jerry, but being like Uncle Stephen? How come they can't bring up all the history surrounding? Why they didn't bring up Daisy Bates' name? Why they didn't bring up L. Alex Wilson's name? Why they didn't compare and contrast what could have happened? And Jerry didn't do. I mean, Jerry, I'm glad they don't got footage or film of him doing anything like spitting on black students, because they were spitting on those black students as well too at Central High School. There's a lot of stuff that could have been talked about, but Ron is an angry black man. Ron, he's a party pooper. We don't want to talk about that. They make us think too much. They make us upset our stomach. We think I do eat turkey. How you gonna upset my stomach? I just got turkey and sweet potato. Why you talking about all this, Negro? Why? Do I think that Kyrie is modern day Muhammad Ali? He's the closest thing to it. More than Kaepernick. I ain't never thought Kaepernick would be Ali, because Kaepernick, you gotta think about Kaepernick had that golden parachute Nike deal. He still had a Nike shoe contract when he was doing all that protesting. And Kyrie lost his Nike contract, and he lost a lot of endorsement. He lost money sitting out games, not only this year, but last year. He's the closest thing to it. You gotta remember, nobody thought of Ali as Ali when he was doing Ali. You know what I'm saying? Nobody saw him as Ali when he was actually doing Ali, when he was losing his prime, making a stand. Kyrie has lost a lot of his basketball playing prime, trying to make a stand. Ain't no telling where else gonna come along. I mean, you know what I think about too? You gotta think about Kurt Flood. A lot of us don't know who Kurt Flood. He's the father of free agency. You know, he was a star outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals back in the 60s. And he refused to be treated like a slave. He's a spiritual descendant of Dred Scott. You know, Dred Scott was denied his liberation in St. Louis. You know, it was the U.S. Supreme Court. Chief Justice Roger Taney said, you have no rights that a white man is bound to respect by law. You nor your descendants. And then you got a brother named Kurt Flood that stood up against the powers that be, said, you're not going to treat me like a shadow, a slave. I got a right to determine where I want to play. And Kurt Flood should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I have no doubt they're going to give Kyrie a hard time getting into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Really, I wouldn't care because a lot of these Hall of Fames are watered down to me. It's like people in there that shouldn't be in there. No disrespect to the people who are enshrined in these Hall of Fame. But Basketball Hall of Fame is like probably the easiest Hall of Fame to get into, it seems like. You know, if you look at how, you know, they treat baseball and football, basketball, it's like you could be what he said, a legendary custodian and get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Oh, it's also he's a legendary. Yeah, man, he kept it clean, man. Remember that year when everybody was like had the runs, and that brother had the flow shine. Damn. So I think Basketball Hall of Fame is easy, but yeah, he close to Ali. I think so. For sure. And people get about Ali, you know, I always bring up this point. Ali didn't start having his problems until he got rid of the white businessman that controlled his career, the Louisville group. It was some white businessmen that trained, that sponsored Ali. He never had the military trying to come for him for a draft. And, you know, and people gotta understand, they wasn't going to put Muhammad Ali on the front lines, but you got to understand and understand what they did to Joe Louis. And I don't blame Ali for doing what he did. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. I'm glad he did it because you got to think about how this country treated black men. You had Isaac Woodard, a black man in full uniform, was blinded by a sheriff in South Carolina. This man had his medals on his uniform. The Greyhound bus driver lied on him. They pulled him off the bus in South Carolina, beat him up real bad, poked his eyes out, gouged his eyes out, kept him in a cell for days. He couldn't even remember who he was. It did to a black man in uniform after making the world safe for democracy. So now, yeah, he's close to Ali. I don't know problem saying that. King BJ, what's up? Hey, brother. How you doing, brother? King BJ. Hey, King BJ. Yeah, y'all read over Daisy Bates. Thank you, Nori Neal, for the information. Thank you for tuning in, tuning out, tuning in to get in where you fit in. Malcolm, you know, Malcolm didn't like. Malcolm had respect for honest liars, right? You know, conservatives, like he said, the liberals like the fox, conservatives like the wolf, right? Y'all listen to a message to the grassroots. Somebody trying to correct me. No, it was a message to the grassroots. It was that Malcolm did November 10th, 1963. Yeah, he did the Battle of the Bullet, which is kind of, I guess, based on Message to the Grassroots, but Message to the Grassroots was first. That came out November 10th, 1963. It's under an hour. It's worth listening to. But Malcolm was very understanding and very thorough with his. We as black people now, we are so politically immature. We have no real black agenda. People talking about trust the code. I don't know what the code is. Most of us off code. We've been off code for generations. People that try to help us, we don't help them. And that's the price you pay when you love black people, because we don't love ourselves enough to help those who have our best interests at heart. See, y'all support Dallas Cowboys more than y'all ever supported Malcolm X. So y'all mad at me for not going in on Jerry Jones, but a lot of y'all care more about the Dallas Cowboys than y'all do about black liberation and self-determination. So it is what it is. The mob is not as big as people. Y'all think the mob is the mafia. The real mob is the government. The federal government is the real mob. The mob ain't bigger than the IRS. The IRS brought down Al Capone. See, they use the mob as hitters, man. They not the shot callers. You know, Jim Connor, John Rosali, all them guys. Now you got to know there's some UFO stuff involved. That maybe that JFK and Marilyn Monroe was killed over a pillow talk about UFOs. Look at the Roswell piece, the Majestic 12. It's so much stuff at play here. Who benefited from Vietnam? The helicopter industry. They made a lot of money off of creating helicopters for Vietnam. See, war is for profit. It's not for progress. It's for profit. Look how the Rothschild family got into power through war. They was able to control the British government by making them an offer they couldn't refuse because they wanted to defeat Napoleon. So they control the government, the banks, and all that stuff. This stuff is real. Like, even look at the Italian mafia. Their accountants are who? They Jewish. Y'all keep on talking about the Italian mob. The Jewish mobsters organized the Italians. Arnold Rothstein, he organized not only Meyer Lansky and Louis Lepke Bochalter, but Bugsy Siegel, but also Lucky Luciano, Frank Costello, Vito Genovese, Jack Legs Diamond. You know, you look at Al Capone in Chicago. He had Jacob Greasy Thumb Guzik. That was his Jewish accountant. Joe Glazier, who was the manager for Louis Armstrong and Bill Holiday. He was connected to the Al Capone gang. Jack Rubenstein, whatever, the guy who shot Oswald, he connected to the Al Capone mob. Joe Glazer sold Billie Holiday out to the feds. He destroyed Billie Holiday. That was her manager. He told Billie Holiday to not even have any legal counsel when she was facing a year in prison. And she didn't have no legal counsel. When she got caught up with narcotics in Philadelphia, got in the shootout, whatever, they're trying to kill Billie Holiday. And her own manager, who she loved, told her, hey, no, don't have no legal counsel, Billie. Just let the government do what they're going to do, plead guilty. She did a year in prison in Pennsylvania, right? Billie Holiday never knew that Joe Glazer betrayed her. She went to death, chained to a hospital bed, with several $100 bills to a person. Dying at 44, not knowing that the manager was some person she loved, sold her out. You know, her and Louis Armstrong did that movie New Orleans. It came out in the 40s. Y'all should look at it because it's deep. I always do like the Jimmy Lance with Jim Marie Festival. We would show movies at the Stax Museum, American Soul Music. And we showed that last year. That stuff was so deep. You know how the white folks say they created jazz, and you know how they made Louis Armstrong and Billie Holiday minor characters and all this stuff. It's worth looking at. Because they constantly co-opting our stuff and making us like the marginalized players or supporters of our own stuff. So you got to know who you are and what you're dealing with. And Sister Duckworth, it went through. The test is good. I got a notification. You know who you are, Sister Duckworth. I appreciate it. But even like we look at, okay, you know how Pete Rose, right? This how a bunch of hypocrites they are. Pete Rose is banned from baseball for life, right? Pete Rose is most definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. He got more hits than anybody in baseball history. He won those championships with the Big Red Machine, Johnny Bitch and Joe Morgan, all them guys. He put together a team that ended up winning the World Series next year. Like, he put together that team, not Lou Piniella. He put together that Cincinnati Reds team that ended up winning the World Series after he was banished from baseball, right? And the thing about it is, you had owners in professional sports that used to bet on the teams and bet against their teams. Organized crime has always been a part of professional sports. You go back to the 1919 Black Sox scandal with Arnold Rothstein, the Jewish gangster, who they said fixed the World Series that year. The World Series that year. So, I mean, you always have organized crime involved in sports. Like they said that, Dick Gregory used to say that Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson were involved in point shaving. And they said they had to force Magic to retire early from basketball because of that. And they end up killing Michael Jordan dead, allegedly because of that. There's a lot to that, but allegedly. But what I'm saying is, this is just a game, man. It's make-believe. It's theater. Stuff is scripted. It's no better than professional wrestling. It's sports and entertainment. It's sports and entertainment. And y'all make it like it's life and death. I guess for some people it is life and death, depending on how deep they're in and involved. Yeah, look up Skull and Bones. That's Yale. I think Butchie Washington's last speaking engagement was at Yale, and the former president, William Howard Taft, was present. And he's a member of Skull and Bones. He's out of Ohio, but man, he about these bloodlines, man. Stuff is real. Do it for you, honey. Only want to do it for you. I want to do it for you. So anyway, I'm just looking through here. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I thank y'all for being patient. I don't even know. I use Jerry Jones as a Trojan horse to talk about everything but Jerry Jones. We always been the salvation. We always been the saving grace for America. But now it's time to save ourselves, because nobody's coming to save us. That's the thing. Nobody's coming to save us. Thank you, Sister Duckworth. Always a pleasure to hear from you. We love you madly. Yes. It's all good. Okay, y'all. I think y'all been entertained. I just want to say something. I don't know. But I just said that it's like I don't have no expectations for these so-called mainstream black media talking heads, because they really could have did us a service by talking about the people that I just talked about as it relates to the Little Rock 9, Central High School, the integration thing. They did us no favors by sensationalized. Thank you, Sister Duckworth. We love you madly. Gift received. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Let me say yes. I do some more shows. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Like I do I'm gonna talk about Shaquilla Robinson. We're gonna talk about that, but we're also gonna tie it in with some other cases. I want to talk about Malcolm Shabazz, Malcolm's grandson, who was killed in Mexico City under very questionable circumstances. And we need to look into that, because really that's an insult to black people to have that man killed like that. And y'all still believe a lot of things they're saying about him or have said about him. And his mom, they tried to get his mom to allegedly assassinate Farrakhan. They used her boyfriend. Guess what her boyfriend was? He was Jewish. She had a Jewish boyfriend who was an FBI asset. Y'all remember that? I remember when that first happened, when they allegedly trying to allege that one of Malcolm's daughters, Malcolm Shabazz's mom, had a white boyfriend, a Jewish boyfriend who was an FBI, was trying to get the daughter of Malcolm X to assassinate Minister Farrakhan. When it's right before the Million Man March, and Minister Farrakhan met with the widow of Malcolm X at the Apollo Theater. I think Al Sharpton was the moderator, and I remember reading the final call when they did that back in the day. That's back in the mid-90s. They did that, right? So her boyfriend was a white Jewish guy who was FBI. Y'all can look this up. I'm not making this up. Sister Sunshine. All right. I see. But it's a lot. Let's go on the internet. Let's punch it up on your computer. Like Dick Gregory would tell me, punch it up on your computer, on your phone. And we know that the best is yet to come. Thank you. You far too kind. So yeah, but the Jerry Jones thing, it is what it is. Jerry is who I thought he was. He interviewed Dennis Green too. The great Dennis Green, the late great Dennis Green. He said, they are who we thought they were, or some stuff. You remember he said that in the press. They are who we thought they were. They almost won, but they lost. I mean, they almost won, but they lost, but they won a moral victory. They are who we thought they were. Either way, rest in peace, Dennis Green. But anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank about Ramon. You're far so kind. I didn't get all into it, like I guess juicy with it, like juicy. I didn't get juicy like juicy. But I hope I gave y'all something y'all can use, some food for thought. Like the words from Brother Heard, please spread the word. We all BTV. That's one word. We all BTV. We all BTV. We all BTV. We all BTV. You can support the movement. You can support it. Good. Cash out your support. $ R2C2H2. That's $ R2C2H2. You can Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle your support. Email r2c2h2@gmail.com. That's email r2c2h2@gmail.com. Also, Vimo your support at r2c2h2. It's r2c2h2 at r2c2h2. Apple Cash 901-299-4355. That's Apple Cash 901. I said Apple Cash 901-299-4355. You can also be a Patreon. Patreon.com/We All Be. Also, you can sign up to be a member of the We All Be tribe on this channel. So thank all the people who have signed up and will sign up. That will donate and donate. Do it now. Just do it now. I got a story. It's not funny. I'm not making fun of people speaking tongues, right? I got this story. It's happened about 20 years ago. It's at my mom's church. The minister, Bishop Alton Williams, his brothers Jasper Williams, he did the eulogy for both C.L. Franklin and Aretha. The controversial one y'all got mad about. That's his brother, but he got a big mega church here in Memphis. They got a big old Statue of Liberty replica outside the church on the church lawn. It's called the Statue of Liberation Through Christ. The New York Times did an article about it when it first appeared on the lawn, almost 20 years ago. But anyway, he had a call to an altar thing. He said, "Yeah, but how many of y'all want to learn how to speak in tongues?" And people said, he said, "Come to the altar. Come to the altar. You want to learn how to speak in tongues." So a whole bunch of people came to the altar, right? But I was on the second floor, and it was so many people that came to the altar that he told people, just stay where you are. If you can't make it down to the altar, if you ain't down here already, just stay where you are and repeat after me. And I remember I said this stuff. I said, you know what? I said, God, if you real, reveal yourself to me. And I shouldn't have said that, because as soon as I said that, I noticed that my tongue started to vibrate and swell. It's like it was vibrating. Like I don't know what was going on. I couldn't control it. And it's like it was swelling. Like I couldn't like close my mouth. It was swelling. Then I started like talking in tongues. I couldn't stop. I said, "Oh Lord, you're doing that." I said, "No, I don't want to do this." Oh, I kept on, like every time I tried to say a word, it's like the dude's caster in Bruce Almighty. When he was trying to speak and Jim Carrey was messing with his voice, with his tongue. That's how they was doing me. So everybody, "Oh Lord, praise Jesus." I said, "No, make this stop. Make it stop." So anyway, one of the assistant pastors, my mom took him down, one of the assistant pastors, he said some type of prayer on me. I remember like my tongue felt like it was shrinking and stopped vibrating. I got control of my tongue and my voice again. So he told me my future or my prophecy, whatever. Whatever. That was 20 years ago. But yeah, there's something out there. I'm just saying it to say that I asked God, the Most High, to reveal himself or itself to me. And whatever that was, it got my attention. So that was 20 years ago. Oh God. So I'm not making fun of that. But anyway. Whew, boy, I'm sorry. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Also show brother Ron. Keep up. Standing with you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Yeah, that stuff is real. It's some stuff out there. I mean, it's stuff out there. Now I'm just saying. I know I make fun, but it happened to me. It's a lot of interesting things that have happened to me over the years, and that's another story for another day. Show enough mysterious way. It's something out there, but I mean that Black people, we got a certain connection to the universe. We got something special. If we can learn how to use that for ourselves first, if we could put ourselves first, you can help bring other folks forward. Because anytime we move on interest of ourselves that's for us, it's benefiting everybody else because we are the origins of humanity. So what benefits the fathers and mothers of humanity is going to benefit the whole family of humanity. So that's how that works. That's just, yeah, I couldn't understand. You know, they say you need an interpreter and whatnot, but yeah, that stuff is it's interesting, man. You know, it's interesting. But let me get out of here. I'll thank y'all. Y'all also buy Artivist Art, r2c2h2.com. You'll wear Artivist Art. They should have the shelf for the Teespring location. I might be running a special sometime soon. I know it's the holidays and hella days are here to stay. Hella days are here to stay. I know you, Miss Luna. I know. Yeah, I agree too. That's right. That third eye can't be controlled. That third eye, and once it open, like Dick Gregory said, once you put those magic glasses on, you can't take them off. I can't make people see what I see. That's why I'm kind of cool now. I'm not trying to make people see the way I see it, but I do want to put out perspective that can help people to come to their own conclusions. Like whatever you think, like even with tonight, yeah, I talk about Jerry Jones and the KKKandyLand and all this stuff, but this is not about Jerry Jones. This is about us now. Because when it comes to us, we got to stop making it about everybody else. Let's make it about us. Because we're very interesting people. We need to celebrate us. We need to advocate for us. We need to be allies for us. Stop looking for everybody else to be your ally. Be a friend to you. I only want to be with you. I only want to be with you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. But let me get on out of here and get out of here. I'm trying to keep you up. Get on out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm going to keep it on 2 hours. So, disclaimer. The views expressed by host and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank you all. Y'all be safe out there. Be great. Be you. We love you madly. Looking forward to seeing y'all one more again. And know that the best is yet to come. And to also keep on producing and pushing for sure. It's always about us. All about us. All about